All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unscripted podcast. This is episode 2. My name is Eric.
My name is Alex.
We got something special here for you guys today. We have one of our close friends here. Alex, tell us a little bit more.
So today we have our first guest along the Unscripted podcast, and it's one of my close friends that I'm very gladly to bring along and say that it is one of my close friends. We have someone who's not only upcoming in the Detroit scene, but all around the country and all around the world, creating alternative music and just all around doing something a little bit different from the whole rap music scene to stand out and to just bring something different to the crowd. I'm more than happy to introduce my friend, Scotti B.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Always, man. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Of course.
So, Scotty, question for you. Who is Scotti B and what kind of music do you make?
You know, people ask me that a lot. Who is Scotti B, what he stands for, and what that is really I'm just like everybody else trying to chase a dream. I used to worry about being up here and satisfying everybody's needs, and now it's just Scotty. That's me.
Okay. So what kind of music does Scotty make?
Scotty makes all kinds of different music. You know, it really depends on what I'm going through at that moment.
Okay.
It's odd, but it can kind of go through what TV shows I'm watching, what other music I'm listening to, what artists I also like.
So would you say that in a sense that your music is a lot more realistic, you would say? It's more of something that you are relating to, more something that you're facing on a day-to-day struggle. Is that something what you're saying?
Yes, and also just daily emotions. I'm just a guy who goes through a ton of rages of emotions every day, and it's my outlet on that microphone.
So in a sense, you found this as your path to
Yes.
finally express yourself, let yourself out, and
Yes.
show people who you
Yes.
truly are without feeling scared or embarrassed, in a sense, we could say.
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. So how long have you been using this as like sort of your way to vent? I guess would kind of be a good question for you. How long have you been rapping for?
As long as I can remember, really. It really all started back when I was going into 9th grade. I got a laptop, a Mac, and it was bought for school reasons.
Right.
And they fucked up and gave me Guitar Center on there, and it was not used for school reasons.
You figured out very quickly the potential.
And then I heard the speaker on that thing. You know, I was so used to iPhones and iPods because this was iPod Nano time. You know, this was the shuffle, iPod shuffles, and that kind of stuff. And it was the first time I got a Mac, and I remember sitting there on my bed all night just listening to music, and I'm like, And I was already the guy who listened to music people didn't listen to. Yeah. I always wanted to go left when everybody goes right.
You was yourself.
That was always what I wanted to do, was just something different. I always loved to go the other way on things. I guess that can't be good. It can be bad, but, you know, I just saw, at the time, this is when SoundCloud was going out, and there was Neon Trees, who I loved growing up, and there was Green Day, and there was all these people who were already getting mass-produced on mainstream level.
100%.
And then there was SoundCloud that came out, which gave people that are recording music off of fucking iPhones and little mics, you know, and it gave them a platform, and I wanted a platform, and I felt it was less of the music and more of just the fact that people were creating.
It was very interesting you say that, because that's, I think about that all the time, because, you know, we're the same age. Eric's a couple of years older than us, and I think about that SoundCloud era all the time, because if it wasn't for that, half of our biggest artists throughout our generation would not exist. Yeah. Juice WRLD.
Everyone started.
Lil Xan.
Everybody started something, because these guys aren't too much older than us.
They're really not.
They're really not. Growing up, when you're 16 and they're 19, it feels like a hell of a difference. But then once you get to 20 and they're like 24, 25, it's like, it's not much. We all grew up the same.
100%. 100%.
It's crazy to think about, too. Because, like, people like Juice WRLD passed away 21. And we're barely even 21 here.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
He was living such a completely different life than we're living right now. Yeah. I don't know. So, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, what made you decide, like, music was what you wanted to pursue in life? What made you decide that's going to be your career choice?
The day I woke up from 4 hours of sleep after putting 13 hours in overnight, nonstop, and
Okay.
it wasn't because I want to make songs. It's because it truly made me happy.
Okay. You wanted to.
I black out when I'm doing anything involving creating.
It's 100%. Because I'll call you sometimes. Can't talk right now. Making music hangs up. Instantly hangs up. No, like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. Like it's there's no getting out of the zone. It's I can't talk right now. Like if you even get the answer, you're lucky. That's about it. If he's in the studio recording or he's in the zone right now, there's good luck. Because he's in it. He's locked
in that
in.
creative headspace.
That's exactly what it is. You know, me personally, I'm a little different. I'm not too much on the creative headspace. About business and numbers, we could talk all day, all day. If we want to paint a canvas or make a song, that is not me.
You're a driver.
Yes. I leave that up to my friend Sky. I'll throw him the canvas and he can paint up a beautiful picture. But on the other hand, Scott, so for the other people that don't really know you as well, I want to touch base on a little bit of a different topic of, more a couple of years ago. Not many people know this, but at a not necessarily very young age, but at the age of 18, you decided to take a little bit of a different path. The path was that you wanted to just go stride for yourself. You wanted to see the world on your own. You wanted to go figure out what it was like being on your own. And you were also kind of just tired of having someone behind your back telling you, this is the time schedule, you can do this, you can't do that. So tell me a little bit about that. You moved out at a very young age on your own. Tell me about that. I want to know a little bit more of an insight from the Scotty perspective of moving out at such a young age.
People ask me all the time, why do you paint your nails black?
Yeah.
Why do you wear all black? Why do you look like a fucking evil, whatever the fuck right now?
Whatever they can think of.
Whatever they can think, And that's simply because I grew up in a more conservative home where the things I really wanted to wear, the way I wanted my hair, the shoes I wanted to wear, the jewelry I wanted to wear, I wasn't really allowed to. And I was always told, when you're 18, feel free to get out the house, pay rent, and do what you want.
See, that's the thing.
It was really just a big ball that was never allowed to explode, and then as soon as I was 18, it exploded. It all came out. So this could all equally came out growing up if I was allowed to, but I'm grateful it didn't, because everything happens for a reason.
It most definitely does, because I was going to say, I grew up in the same thing. I grew up in a very modest, conservative home. No piercings. Absolutely
none of that.
No tattoos, me.
Absolutely not.
Even if I don't want a tattoo, but even if I did want one, you know me, I can't.
Yeah.
So it just comes down to the fact that my mom always told me, your roof, your rules. And until then,
they're mine.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shut up.
And I can honestly respect that.
Very simply.
It just builds up to when you're 18, what do you want in life?
100%. So tell me a little bit, because it's when you moved out at 18 years old, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So where was the first place that you moved to?
Downtown Detroit.
And how long did you live there?
I lived there for about a year and a half.
Tell me a little bit about that, because me personally, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Not only just the whole Detroit scene, but like it's just the city, the whole. I've been to where you stay. It couldn't be me.
Let's just start it off as let's just be happy that I wasn't there while I was 21 years old.
Right.
Let's just start it off.
That's
with that.
very true.
I saved a lot of money being there at 18 years old to 19 and a half.
100%. Could have been stuck at MGM all day.
Yes, I miss it every day. I could do it again, and I might, but it really motivated you to see where everybody else is.
100%.
Because that's where everyone else goes. Some people love to go to college, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You see where everybody else is your age that also moved to Detroit.
100%.
Where you start to see where life takes people.
You see all the people from Wayne State University. You always see all the people around, and that's
you see 50-year-olds that are living there as well. They have a job in Detroit. You really see what real life is. So that downtown Detroit is a great place to see what real life is.
To really put some oomph into your life.
So put some
some spark.
Yeah,
such a great place to have your
and really just from 18 to 19, first year paying rent and being on my own really just taught me like if you want nice things, you got to work really hard.
Damn right.
You want marble counters on your apartment. You want a
pay for it.
Studio. Nothing is free. Everything is a price, and it really smacks you in the face how hard it is to live on your own.
Yeah.
Mortgage and car payments.
Damn right.
It goes fucking on.
With nothing going up in the world.
Everything.
And so speaking of that, so now going from studio to one bedroom apartment, that's kind of the situation that you've gone in. You started off as a studio in downtown Detroit. Now you have a beautiful apartment down near the downtown Royal Oak area.
Yes.
You've been living on your own for 3 years now?
Going on 4.
Going on 4. It's crazy to even fathom because, you know, like, it's something our parents talked about. They're like, when I was your age, I had to do this, this. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Because, you know, it never really feels like it, you know?
Because you're enjoying it.
Yeah. You know, there's definitely stressful times,
Mhm.
but it's crazy. You know, just overall life these past couple years, really past couple months, really, I just been realizing that life is nothing but a constant now. You know, you can always focus on the rent in the future, a show you got in the future, an event you got in the future, but really all life is a constant now. Like what we're doing right now. And today is the youngest you'll be forever.
Yeah.
100%. I can't agree with that anymore.
So I know in the last 3 years you've lived in Detroit. You lived here in Royal Oak.
Yeah. After a year and a half downtown Detroit, I explored.
Right. So I was just about to ask. In that 3-year period, there was also a gap there. You moved to Cali a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that journey and what got you to make you want to move to Cali. And
You know, as someone who pays rent, and I don't own any property.
not yet.
Not yet, at least. You know,
Exactly
I don't
right.
own any property. I rent. So, sitting there after a couple years and realizing how much you're spending on rent, and there's nothing really tying you down to Detroit.
Right.
And you're so young. Like I said, you're as youngest as you'll be every day, and just getting. How do I word this?
Well, so I'll help you a little bit because what they say is that at your youngest, that's when you should experience the most trials and tribulations.
Right.
Take the most risk.
Right.
Because
No, basically what it is after a couple years of just spending all this and that, you really realize I'm not in college. I have family here, but you know, family's there forever, and
let's take a risk.
Let's take a risk. Let's get out there and let's put our chips in a fucking bet.
Yeah.
Let's go all in real quick.
So you just like one day, just your lease was up. You're like, I'm just gonna pack my bags, go to Cali here for a little bit.
Because
and
obviously,
explore,
because
or-
we know about it.
Currently, I was in a month-to-month
Okay.
lease, and I had that freedom of, fuck it, I
Leaving
have money
whenever
saved
you-
up.
Yeah.
I have money saved up, and I want to go, and that's exactly what I did. You know, I worked my ass off every day. I booked an Airbnb in LA for 2 months, and as soon as I booked that Airbnb, you know, I wasn't flying. I drove.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I drove. So there was
How
no
many miles is that?
flight.
Like, what, over 2,500 miles?
2,525 miles.
Yeah, wow.
And you stopped a couple places on the way, right?
I quickly stopped. You know, I was so focused
Quick in and
on
out.
getting to California.
Got it. Got it.
You know, that's something I regret a lot is not seeing it in. You know, I think about it all the time. I have all kinds of pictures on my phone of driving through New Mexico, driving through Arizona, driving through Utah, driving through all these places where you're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
But you didn't get to truly
Right.
fully
And I
experience
didn't
it.
really get to fully experience it. I was so focused on staying on the highway. Get to
I
California.
have to get there. I
Yeah.
have to get there.
Yeah.
Get there. I
Yeah.
have to get there.
I have to get there, and I really wish I would have pulled over and ran into a field. You know, if I saw a cornfield, run into the cornfield. You know, if I saw the big desert, run into the desert.
Take it
hug
all
a
in.
cactus.
You know, but I'm just such a paranoid fuck. You know, I just think that there's gonna be a landmine on there, and you never know whose property you're on.
Right. They're gonna shoot you
You
or
know,
something.
most of these billionaires in America own most of that land.
100%.
You know,
100%.
Warren Buffett owns a lot of that.
Bill Gates
Yeah, Bill Gates
owns
you know,
like
they could have
260,000 acres of farmland.
crazy.
So I know your journey took you to Cali, and then after Cali, I believed you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You went to Florida here for a little bit too.
Yeah, also did live in Florida for about 7 months, 8
I
months.
forgot all about that.
Yeah. I sold retail at G-Star.
Okay.
Forgot all
Okay.
about that.
And then Florida for 7 to 8 months, and then you ended up deciding to come back here to Detroit again.
Yeah, it's as soon as you're out.
You're right back
right
in.
back.
So
Pulls you right back.
let me
every
ask you
time.
this: What made you to finally decide Detroit's where I need to be? That this is the place that's I'm gonna set my foot in the door, and this is where I'm gonna leave my mark before I go anywhere else.
You know, there's a lot of people that look up to me around here.
Mhm.
You know, I have a little brother who looks up to me a lot, and I have family over here. I have also a lot of shows that go on over here, and great people, you know. And I didn't meet these people until a year and a half ago. So when I was downtown Detroit, I was alone most of the part.
100%.
You know, I had a little scooter, and I would just do my thing down there by myself, and I didn't really know anybody. And now I'm involved in a whole underground community in Detroit, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
See, that's the crazy thing to me is that, to bring it back on a different topic that you talked about in the beginning is a bit of high school. For all of us, me and you were in the same grade. After a couple of years, you transferred from the high school that you went to my high school, and we even had a couple of classes together, and we both went through the same struggles, and even Eric went through the same struggles of going through bad friend groups, peer pressure, not understanding fully of what you can believe in yourself and what you can get out of life. And that's something I want to touch on a little bit more, is that, you say now that, you have people who believe in you and this and that, and I trust you, I believe you. But in the beginning of how we felt in high school, we didn't really have that kind of mindset.
No.
We didn't necessarily think that we could influence someone to believe us or what we have to say.
I mean, being completely honest with you, I didn't think I'd be alive when I was around this age now, when I was going through high school. I was not the best kid.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We all went through our own little patches, our own little holes, but the biggest thing is how you recover from it. Yeah. That if you keep just going down, 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 I'm sorry for it, but that's where it's going to keep going. Yeah. But if you at one point realize you hit rock bottom and it's time to go up. Tell us a little bit about that, because I feel like you had a little bit of a moment like that, in a sense where it's just like, it's time to go up now. Let's do best for us.
Oh, it does go into high school.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, those were big experimenting, I guess,
100%.
ages for me. I was really focused on pleasing.
All of us, because we just want to fit in.
Yeah, I just wanted to please. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really worried about what I liked. I was always doing things to, what are they going to like?
Right.
What are they going to think is cool?
What's going to make me fit in?
I think is cool. Not about what I want on my album. Not about what I want my cover. What do I think they will like? And that's like a delusion that I feel like so many artists get fucked on, is they're so worried about what other people are going to think and what are your fans going to like, but you don't realize that your fans like you for you.
I don't even think it's artists. I think that's just society.
It's society, yeah.
Because everyone's looking for the click, for the like. Yeah. It's not just like, I did this because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you said. I did it because everyone else will enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's no more I enjoyed it.
No,
I want to do it for me. It's the click, it's the post.
And I didn't come to that breaking point until when I came back from California in Miami. Mm-hmm. I went broke over there. Yeah. I spent my last, which is another reason why I came back. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't.
100%.
I was running low on funds, and I spent all this money on marketing campaigns and this feature, trying to make it, do whatever I could to force myself in the room. And that's when I learned a big lesson in life, that it's just a constant now. And all you can do is do what you can every day, and whatever happens, happens. You can't get mad over anything that's not in your control.
100%.
God has a plan for everybody. I'm a believer in God, so I believe that there's a plan, unrolling script for all of this. And
whether it takes 10 years or 1 year.
5 years, 6 years. I mean, I've been at this for around 8 years now, and it's been I looked at 0 views for a very long time.
100%.
And yeah, that's pretty much that.
Yeah, it's crazy too to think about, like how you said you've been at this for a long time, almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And everyone peaks at certain points in life. But to go back to what you said, God has a plan for like everything that you do in life, in a sense. For instance, like Steve Harvey didn't get rich until he was 36. He slept in a car for 3 years, and now 100%. He's one of the wealthiest people out there.
Or you can be like Maddox, and you can get it at 10 years old, at 12 years old.
And that's just everyone's got different plans and different things. And going back to the question, I didn't get the fuck the world mindset until I came back, and I realized I put all my money on the line. I want to be myself.
Time to get my lick back.
That's when I started making my alternative music. Started making my Crystal Castle sounding music, my EDM, my techno, and it was not about just rap and things changed after that. Right. And I stopped looking at numbers. I used to hound my apps, I used to sit on SoundCloud and Apple Music and replay my own music and let it sit overnight and get my own streams. That's how bad I wanted it. And then I was like, why am I so worried about numbers? Like, I want to just do art. 100%. I just want to create.
100%.
Right. So, I mean, got a question for you here. So, ultimately, you could have either went to college or you could have went and tried to make it in the music industry.
Yeah.
What made you decide to be different and not go to college and put everything on the line and try to make it in the music industry instead of taking an easy path to success going to college like most of our peers did?
You know, I think it's just a dog inside of me that wants to go this way when everybody else goes that way.
Okay.
I'm kind of like a
You wanna
person
be
that
different.
when you say I'm wrong, I'm gonna prove you wrong. You know, that's just the kind of person I am.
That's
Alex can relate very,
Right.
very
That's,
well.
I was gonna wait for you to
know,
finish,
and
I
it's
was
also about the people you surround yourself with. I mean, like, look at you, Alex.
yes.
You know, it's look at you, Eric. You
Right.
know, like look at
Wasn't
you know,
it
it's the
because-
people you
because
surround yourself with.
None of us went to college.
Yeah,
Right, none
us-
of us did, and it's crazy to think about because I feel like growing up, it was something that was like
So
you either go
stressed
to
and so
college
important.
or you
And
don't do well in life.
if
And
you-
now it's something you look at where people are like, you don't have to go to college to do well in life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's something important in today's society?
Go to college.
Go to college.
Go to college. Go
Okay.
to college. Go to college. Go to college.
Go to college.
Go to college.
'Cause that's what I was gonna say. Not everyone,
You know.
There-
Look, if I was getting college paid for, you know, like it would be a consideration.
your scholarships,
Right.
all
Scholarships,
this,
all
or
that,
even parents.
yeah, or a blessing like that. But I'm not in that position, and I
Right.
just see myself. If I'm gonna put myself in debt, I'll put $50,000 in debt in music.
Investing
Not-
in yourself.
Investing in myself,
Yeah.
not in a degree. But you know, I almost did go to college. As a matter of fact, I did go to college for one semester at OCC
Yep.
in Royal Oak. I did it for one semester and I dropped. I wanted to do fashion. I wanted a secondary degree, an associate's for fashion, and I wanted to do that, and it just
And that's something I was gonna comment on a little bit. You know, is that I also went to OCC. You know, as
Yeah.
you and Eric know, is that I went to OCC for a little under 2 years. I was studying business administration, and it got to the point where my business started doing very well, 3 exotic drinks, and it started doing to a very well point that I went to go meet with my counselor and my head advisor, and I told him, I'm learning more from administrating my own business than you guys are teaching me. And not only am I learning more, but I'm making more than you could potentially offer me.
Yeah.
Because that's the main thing. Sure, education's awesome, but no one's doing it for free. People want to do it to make the big bucks.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing that it comes down to.
it makes their money back.
You're not going to be a doctor and pay $300,000 in student loans to go make $50,000 a year. Absolutely not. You want to go make $500,000, $250,000 a year.
But that's not realistic a lot of the times, though.
It's not. It's not.
It is what you said. It's a
Most
$50,000,
of the time.
$100,000 for $60,000
It
year.
is, and that's what I told my professor, and that's what I told my counselors, that it's gotten to the point where what you guys are telling me, and what I'm doing, are two complete different things. You guys are selling me a dream. I have something already going for me.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, at the age of 20 years old, I dropped out of college, and everyone has to speak for themselves. But luckily for me, it was one of the best things I've ever done because I set up a structure for myself that was very important. I told myself, here's a list of 10 items. If you don't hit 7 or 6 out of those 10 things on that list, you're taking your ass right back to school because clearly it's not what you thought it was going to be. You have to be realistic with yourself. That's the thing.
Right.
I set up a structure and I told myself that if you don't hit these goals, you're taking your ass back to school.
Yeah.
God bless, I hit 8 out of the 10 out of the list.
Yeah.
And I knew for myself. God bless. God bless, I knew for myself, and I don't need school. I have the determination in myself, I have the belief in myself, and I have the drive in myself to go get myself educated and learn to go do what I have to do.
It just comes down to discipline.
It really does. And
It's consequences.
if you want it bad enough, you'll get it.
You'll get it.
It does.
You'll
And
get it.
you can learn a lot. You can learn how to run a business, start a business, anywhere online. Literally a YouTube video
And-
can teach you more than college does.
And so that's
it's
something
free.
that's something else I was going to touch on is that it's about the grind. You told us how for months you had 0 views. It's something that you just sat there and you're just like, I got to get my own views up because if I'm not going to have any views, I got to get my own views up.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting at over 10K monthly listeners on Spotify. Look at that. It's a genuine smile on his face. He can't even hide it.
It's a big number. It's a big number.
Tell me about that because obviously I just started this podcast. We just started this podcast. It's only 2 episodes deep. I know nothing about that feeling. I run my own business. I do sales, whatever. I don't know something about 10,000 people a month who go on their music and say, I need to listen to Scotti B. That's what I want to hear right now. Tell me about that.
It's just overall a blessing. And I just want to keep feeding people that want more.
Yeah.
And I want to show everybody that I'm a hard worker and I love what I do.
It's not even that you're a hard worker because not many people know, but just give a little bit of a breakdown for what is the daily life of Scotti, So obviously I know a little bit more. Eric knows a little bit more, but just give us
Detailed, or you want?
well, however much you want. You know, this is up to you. This is the Unscripted podcast. If you want to tell them that you wake up at 7:46 in the morning to go feed your cat, by all means,
Give
please
the
do.
people what they want.
I wake up 6 to 7 a.m. by my cat being a cat, doing cat stuff.
Uh-huh.
After that, I wake up, I stretch, I do 30 push-ups.
Awesome.
After that, I go into my kitchen.
What happens there?
I pull out my waffle maker.
Uh-oh.
Every morning?
Every morning.
Uh-oh.
Every morning.
You get
It
serious.
may catch up on me, but every morning I get my waffle maker. I get my batter, I get everything together. I play jazz music, I make a waffle, I feed my cat,
Okay.
and I drink a mimosa.
Awesome.
Every morning.
That's a great way to start it.
I'd be lying if I said that was every day. But mimosa a good amount of the time, yes.
I think I'm gonna start my mornings
I
different. from
like
now on.
that.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start your day.
It has a little buzz to it.
So how long does that take? 30, 40 minutes?
Around 22.
22. Wow.
Okay, so after we're done with
Okay.
that, what's happening next?
After that, I either go to the gym or usually I work, which I'm a DJ.
You're a DJ.
I'm a DJ.
So tell us a little bit more about that, because I remember you telling me, and you didn't get into too much detail about it, but are you working somewhere privately? Are you working as like a private contractor where if they hire you, you'll go there? Like how is it set up for you? How are you working it?
Okay, so let's start it off as I'm a guy who's worked so many different jobs, and every single job, like so many jobs, I either get fired or I hate it and I'm absolutely miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And then times got tough around 4 months ago, and I ended up getting a job at some mortgage place, and I was most miserable I've ever been. It was draining.
It sounds
was
tough.
long hours, and it was so draining that I couldn't even go home. It was hard for me to create music because I was such in like a black cloud headspace. It was taking all of my life from me.
It's all the
Draining
energy.
all your
Yeah,
energy.
exactly.
It took everything from me, and I really realized like I gotta do something.
Mhm.
You know, no, I can't keep waiting for my life to change. I need to go out there and change.
You gotta go make
I
a
gotta
change.
go and change. I gotta go and change it, and I realized like how can I incorporate music? Like I'm not getting booked Scotti B shows at the Fox. You know, where I'm paying
Not
off just music. Not yet. You know what I mean? That's not where it's at right now. But how can I do something I don't fucking hate and get bills paid and live life? You know, and I realized that DJing, you know, a DJ, a wedding DJ, or a party DJ, private party DJ, doing sound,
Yeah.
just being on aux cord, basically just being on aux cord is
Being the vibe of the
just
party.
being the vibe of the party is good for me, and I ended up making a few calls, and here I am a couple months later, and I'm very happy, and I got a job. I'm a DJ. I do all sound and lighting and everything for 3 different venues.
And I mean, we've gone to where Scotti Scotti DJs that,
Yeah.
and I can tell you, it is very electric when you are in that place.
He holds it down, you know.
Holds it down is an
and that's
understatement.
the thing, because I'm very excited to see on what the potential is and what comes next, because Scott has always been more, in my opinion, the front of the scene. Not necessarily. He's always been in the back of the scene. He just doesn't make it known too much. But now seeing him fully all the way around as a double-sided knife, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
always been like I've lived 2 lives. Like, you know, I worked at a mortgage place, like a mortgage guy during the day, and as soon as I
Not even
leave, I
6
look
months
like
ago.
this. I'm
He's
like,
playing card. He's
you
playing
know,
card.
you know, like exactly, like it was like 2 lives my whole life. I've always had to live 2 lives. Growing up in my family home, at school, I've always had to live 2 lives, and it's finally like I'm not.
100%. You can finally let yourself be
Yeah.
and show people who you truly are.
Yeah.
And whether they accept it or not, that's up to them.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
But definitely. Now, Scott, tell me, do we have any new music coming up?
We do. As you guys should know, I drop albums every month.
Uh-huh.
My next album will be coming out Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
Scary.
Perfect. Do we have an album name yet?
In the works.
In the works?
In the works.
So we're not going to really see yet.
Yeah, we're not going to say all that yet.
Okay.
But, yeah, it should be really good. I'm
Do we-
making a Halloween album.
Awesome. Do we have any special features on there? Anyone to keep a watch out for? Anything like that?
GVN. Jeevan. You know, it's really the only guy I make music with.
Awesome,
And
Scott.
It should be really cool.
Do we have any upcoming shows or anything else we need to keep a watch out? Anything else like that?
Yes, October 14th, I'm doing somebody's birthday party at the Trumbleplex, Detroit.
That's ironic you say that, because it's
Yeah.
that's my brother's birthday. So I was about to be like, is that are you celebrating my brother's birthday?
Yeah. We are. Yeah.
Booked them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming to join us today at the Unscripted podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah. And make sure to join in next week for the next episode between me and Eric. Thanks again. We'll catch you guys next week.
See you in episode 3.
Thank you for having me.